the a-hole for refusing to pay my parents' rent money? I turned 18 about a month ago. The day after my birthday, my parents sat me down and told me they want me to pay rent while I lived at home. I was a little confused. I have 3 older siblings, and the deal for them was that they could live at home for free while they were studying, even when they were several years older than I am. Now, I can only work weekends because of college, so I make about 500 euros a month. And after paying for tuition, health insurance, mandatory, and my phone bill, I have about 300 euros left, most of which I try to save. So I ask my parents how much they want. 100 a month? Maybe 200. But no. They want me to pay market value to rent a room, which is in the city where I live about 500 euros. Now, I think this is ridiculous for 2 reasons. 1, my parents' rent for the entire house is 600 a month. I would have understood asking for 1/3 of that, but for me to pay 84% of that alone seems excessive. And 2, none of my siblings paid rent, even if they were older or had better paying jobs. Not to mention that my parents didn't give me any warning. If I had known beforehand, I'd have looked for a room when college started. I explained that I have to make almost 800 a month just to be able to pay for everything, and even more if I want to save anything for unexpected expenses, /school books, /actually moving out, which would be really hard to do while going to college full-time and commuting back and forth. They just told me to take out some student loans. I told them I'm not okay with paying that much, and that I would look to move out as soon as possible so I wouldn't be a financial burden to them. I think I found a room, cheaper than my parents offered, and will probably move out in a week or 2 if everything goes right, but I have to pay this month's rent. Am I the a-hole? Edit. Some people pointed out that my parents are legally obliged to help pay for my living/college expenses. I'll look into it. Now for the top comments. Not stay home. Move out, get some space, and move on with your life. I'm sorry they are treating you this way. It sounds like you're the scapegoat. I hardly get to rent thing for your kids, especially if they are in school. Then to come up with an absurd number like 84%. If mom and dad want that, they'll have to move to the smallest bedroom and get the rest of the house. Not stay home. If I was ever in the situation of having kids around the age of 18, I would charge rent. If they aren't full-time studying, but I'll put it in a savings account in secret and give it to them when they move out. Info, did they give you the reason for why you have to pay rent but your siblings didn't? Seems super unfair. They didn't, though I've never been the favorite at home. My theory is that they don't approve of the degree I want to pursue and therefore don't want to help. But I don't know. Someone else pointed out that they might have money trouble, but if they do, I'm not sympathetic. They both have high-paying jobs and go on expensive vacations often, and my dad just bought a new car. Not stay home. Sounds like your parents are way behind on rent and are looking for an easy way out, like having you pay 84% of the rent. How come a room in your city is 500, but your parents' entire apartment is only 100 more? Just curious. They can't just raise the rent much while someone is living there. My parents moved in a while ago, so they pay 600. Our neighbors pay 750. Plus, student housing is just expensive. I'm not sure why. May I ask in which country you and your family live? The Netherlands. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not letting my ex have a relationship with his child? I know the title is awful, but I'm trying to be quick and couldn't think how better to phrase it. When I was 18, I was in a relationship that was, in hindsight, full of red flags, the biggest being he was 29. We split after 4 months because he cheated and gave me an STI. Then during treatment for the STI, I found out I was pregnant. I personally am against terminating, so I wanted to keep the baby. I told him and he made it clear he didn't have to be involved. And my father, a lawyer, drafted a contract that we both signed, basically giving up his rights to the child. The whole time he was vehemently against me having the baby and made multiple MySpace videos going on about how I shouldn't be able to keep the baby without his permission, and I was a witch, and so on. Once the contract was signed, I basically never heard from him again until this year. He found out recently that he was infertile, and now he and his wife of 10 years want to build a relationship with my son. He isn't allowed to contact my son without permission, and I have refused. My son adores my husband, and it will devastate him to find out that his real dad didn't want him. Am I the a-hole for not letting my ex have a relationship with his son? All I can think about is the hateful things he said about my son and I before my son was born. And now the only reason he's reached out is that he can't have other children. I don't think I'm the a-hole, but I feel really conflicted. Edited to add, my son is almost 15. He does know that my husband isn't his dad, and we went through therapy for it when we told him at 11. But he very much considers my husband to be his dad and our daughter to be his sister, and hasn't shown any interest in finding out about his biological father. Obviously, if he wants to know, I won't lie to him. But right now, he is happy with his family as it is, and hasn't shown any interest in hearing about my ex. Not stay home. Though, if you have not told your son that stepdad isn't his real dad, that won't end well in the long run. But speaking of your ex, wow, is that karma or what? Infertile. Probably from untreated STIs. Not stay home. You signed away his rights and your son has a good relationship with your husband. If he is infertile, he can always adopt. This. He signed away his rights. He doesn't get to say he has a child. Did he forget that he signed the papers? Not stay home. He doesn't get to decide to try and be a dad because he found out he's infertile 10 years after all the horrible crap he said. He made his bed, and now he needs to lay in it. I hope you kept the videos just in case he tries anything sneaky in the future. Edit: being a sperm donor doesn't give him the father/dad title. Not stay home. Are you able to say, if your son ever asks, you'll put him in touch? Would that work? Yeah, that's basically what I said to him. And he got angry that I wouldn't let him fly halfway across the country in a pandemic and let him meet my son right now. Seriously, when he messaged 2 weeks ago, he was talking about booking flights for the first weekend of Feb. And I was like, WTF? Yikes. Well, stick to your guns. Your boy's happy, and that's a gift you gave him. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for paying my niece $50 for the birthday cake she made for my son's birthday? My 16-year-old niece Judy is into bakery. She bakes plenty of sweets and cakes. Due to my brother and his wife's financial situation, Judy got dropped out of cooking academy. She was heartbroken over this, especially because she was on top of her class. She was determined to go back to cooking academy, so she started selling stuff she bakes online to be able to afford her classes. Her parents thought cooking academy was a distraction from school and disapproved of it though, so they started demanding she bakes for neighbors and friends for free. My son's 4th birthday was last week. I asked Judy if she could bake a cake for $50. She agreed, but my brother said no chance, and swore up and down that she will do it for free. Judy said if she keeps working for free, she'll no longer be able to afford the academy, not to mention the ingredients. I said I have no issue paying, but my brother said we're family and the cake was for free. This didn't sit right with me, so I went behind my brother and his wife's back and gave Judy the $50 before they left the party. Well, they found out and yelled at Judy for accepting the money. Then my brother called saying I shouldn't have paid her, but I said she deserves the money for her efforts. But he went on about how unacceptable it is for family to pay for favors, and said that Judy got grounded for acting so entitled. I had an argument with him and told him to stop the punishment, but he said we wouldn't be dealing with us if I didn't go behind his back and gave Judy the money in the first place. I hung up and met up with my family to discuss this, and they all agreed that I should never have sneaked my niece the money and disrespecting her parents' wishes. They told me that I don't even get to speak ill of my brother because he was just trying to be generous with me and was being a real family. I don't know. I feel I might be the a-hole for this. Am I? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. People think that just because you're family, you don't deserve to be paid for your time and effort and skill. You did the right thing. She deserved that $50. Except her parents are making the kid work for free for everyone. Opie might be able to better help by telling the niece she'll hold the money for her until she's old enough to open her own bank account. Or possibly gift the academy tuition, directly paid to the academy. I agree with this, but $50 and hold tuition is a big difference money-wise. Not an OB to pay the whole thing, but maybe she could help set up a small business for her so she can widen her clientele. Not stay home. Wow. Not stay home. Very much not stay home. Your brother is calling poor Judy entitled when they expect her to spend her time, effort, skills, and probably money on ingredients, and give her goods away for free? That's entitled. They want a puppet to do their bidding and make them look good. They are abusing their daughter's passion for the sake of their own image, and then proceed to punish her when she actually shows any kind of success for it. Is there any way that you could help Judy Network to find more people to sell goods to, so she can make money for Cooking Academy? Judy needs a website and a new place to live. Not stay home. Why do people not understand that just because a family member has skill, it doesn't mean they should do stuff for free? Thank you for at least trying to help your niece and trying to pay for her time. Her parents are shocking. Not stay home. Your brother is teaching his daughter a horrible lesson. That her time and skill is not worth anything. People want to constantly preach you do for family, but there is a line between being generous and taking advantage of someone. You are completely in the right to pay your niece not only for ingredients, but also her time. Your niece is going to hopefully learn quick that you don't set yourself on fire to keep someone else warm. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my mother she will not see her grandchild? I, 33 female, recently found out I am expecting. My husband and I are delighted, and everybody's delighted for us. This will be our first child and my mother's 64 female third grandchild, as sister 31 female has 2 kids. When we announced we were expecting, my mother decided she had to take charge, giving me names, telling me that she should take care of the babies, I wouldn't know what I was doing, etc. Now, I am very low contact with mother. I actually moved away from living in close proximity with her due to my dislike towards her. Without boring you all with detail, my upbringing was not abusive on the physical side. However, I was emotionally drained, and I had such relief the moment I moved out of her house. I won't get into the history, but my sister got everything her way. Could freeload whilst I had to be working from age 16. Pay my own way by giving up 60% of my wage. I had to get a full-time job whilst continuing my education, funding everything myself. I do not resent my sister for this, and we have a fantastic relationship. The rest of my family did not talk to my mother, with my sister the only one who remains in contact. Even then, my sister will consistently complain to me about her, to the stage now where her kids will not be with my mother unsupervised. With my mother, it is her way or no way, and will give you the silent treatment until she gets her way. Even my nephews joke about the way my mother is. The times she reaches out to me, it's when she needs money. As she is my mother, I was previously supporting her, and as it stands, she owes me £47,000 over a 5-year period. My in-laws are moving closer to us for the birth of their first grandchild, and I want them to be super involved. My mother-in-law is more of a mother to me than my own. 2 days ago, a post on Facebook came out which made me react extremely fast. A young girl at her work, care home, had passed an NVQ. My mother posted that she was extremely proud and Stacy's more of a daughter to me than my eldest. I'll admit, I saw red, and I told her until she could accept me for who I am, I will not be speaking to her again. To which she responded that I had been a disappointment all her life, and she asked if the unborn child is even my husband's, as she knows I secretly work in prostitution. I don't, but again, I am not telling her my job title nor how much money I make. I was livid and told her she would never see her grandchild or me again. She's been blowing me up, calling me an a-hole, and having her friends also contact me, claiming how cruel I am and what a horrible thing for a daughter to do. I don't think I'm the a-hole here, but I'm wondering, what do you all think? Not the a-hole, and you know it. She's a manipulative narcissist. It will never get better unless she seeks serious mental health help. No contact is the only way I can see at the moment. I was very low contact before due to her ways. It was some comments from my own friends that made me post, claiming I may be using my future child as a way to punish her. I had to trim the comments my friends made about it from the original post as it was above the character count. Your friends need to keep their opinions to themselves. They're not the ones who have to put up with this treatment. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. She herself said you're not really her daughter, so why should you consider her a mother? Excuse my language, but ditch that witch for good and live a happy life without the nasty influence of that person. Don't let your child get poisoned by her or her friends. Protect yourself and your family and stay strong. Not stay home. Your mom sounds like a trash fire, and if you do not mind unsolicited advice from a stranger and parent, it all boils down to this one question. Will this person's presence be a positive influence in my child's life? If the answer is no, what you did is not just your right, but your responsibility as a parent. Block her and her flying monkeys not just until she asks for another chance, but until she proves by her actions that she deserves one. If that is forever, she only has herself to blame. Not stay home. It's time to cut contact completely. Block her from your phone and all your social media. Do not let her inside your home if she comes by. Don't even answer the door. She's highly toxic. Inform your sister of your new rules. Congratulations on your pregnancy. Please remember that it's not good for your health or your baby's health to be overly stressed, so you'll have to work on eliminating your mom from your mind as much as you can. My mom was toxic too, and I wish you only the best. Unfortunately, blocking her isn't an option I can take. 2 years ago, my sister was diagnosed with a mental disability, which means I still need to protect her. And I don't want my mother using my sister as a point of contact and putting unnecessary pressure on my sister.